GTA hides a lot in plain sight. Tonight, we cover multiple GTA facts you might not know about. Let's start with 3 myths that turned real. First, the Mount Chiliad UFO. It works on a strict schedule. Be on the summit at 2:59 a.m., set the weather to thunderstorm, and make sure your save is at 100% completion. Stand on the metal platform by the cable car shack, mural side, and look up at exactly 3 o'clock. If the sky isn't stormy, or you're even a minute late, it won't appear. Use a sniper scope or your phone to zoom the lights. Don't try to bump it with a helicopter. Getting too close makes it flicker out. Next, the Fort Zancudo craft. The rule set is the same, 3 a.m. and 100%, but altitude is the check. Lift off from the marsh in a chopper, climb until the base lights look like a grid below you, and cross the invisible height line. The saucer fades in above the runway. Keep a steady hover. Diving toward it causes a phase out, and a wanted level will complicate your shot. There's also the offshore sighting north of Paleto Bay. Head into deep water and be in position by 2:58 a.m., so you're not moving when the clock flips. Scan the clouds at 3 o'clock and look for a faint spotlight cone on the ocean. Weather is less strict here, but being early and stationary helps. Record the moment, then tilt the camera down. The reflection on the water confirms you've got it. Switching from UFOs to the Mount Gordo Ghost, expect tighter rules. Go to the cliff shelf on the east face, by the lone tree and broken fence, just before 11 p.m. Between roughly 11 p.m. and midnight, she appears above a name written in blood. Walk straight at her, and she despawns. Instead, stop about 20 meters back. Use the fence post as cover and watch through a scope. Nudge a step forward or back to find the boundary where she holds. When midnight hits, she's gone whether you moved or not. Finally, the playable Bigfoot isn't a rumor, it's a checklist. Finish the last one, get your save to 100%, and wait for a foggy Tuesday between about 5:30 and 8 a.m. Head to the hidden golden peyote near Chiliad's slopes. You'll hear a low growl before you spot it. Wrong weather or wrong day equals no prompt. When everything lines up, accept the peyote and you'll drop into Sasquatch. Low camera, heavy stride, thudding footsteps. Roar once, enjoy the moment, and know it ends when the fog lifts or the time window closes. The common thread across all of these is simple. Set the clock, meet the condition, then hold still. Precision on time and weather, plus a calm approach, turns old rumors into repeatable sightings. You can drop a 3-star chase without leaving a 2-block box if you treat the wanted system like geometry, not difficulty. Think in cones and silhouettes. Patrol cars don't know you, they maintain vision. When a cruiser rounds the corner behind you, that blue cone on the minimap is a line of sight check. Break it and a gray search begins. Your first move is lateral, not straight. Cut a 90-degree turn into an alley so the car overshoots, then carve a second 90 to create an L shape the AI can't see through. Don't floor it. You're solving an angle, not a drag race. As soon as the cone drops, kill your engine lights and park tight against a wall to compress your silhouette. Your car is part of your identity. If the cops get a good sustained look, that vehicle becomes a moving wanted poster. Swap the silhouette undercover and you're half invisible. A textbook swap spot is any underpass with parked traffic or a delivery bay behind a shop. Hit the first turn, then roll under the bridge where sightlines are broken by pillars. Bail out while the cone is gray, step behind a pillar so the helicopter can't draw a bead, and enter a parked sedan facing outward. The change from a bright sports coupe to a beige commuter shrinks your profile even if a patrol reappears. Helicopters widen the search, but they're still slaves to angles. Their bird's eye cone is huge, yet bridges and tunnels are hard counters. If the rotors show up, do not weave in the open. Dive for vertical cover. A freeway overpass gives you 2 wins at once. A hard roof that blanks the sky cone, and a multi-pillar forest that breaks ground sightlines. If you can reach a tunnel, the chase flips. The moment the chopper loses you, every ground unit updates off last known heading. You're now writing a ghost path they'll chase while you sit still. Elevation matters more than speed. Parking ramps, construction sites, and storm drains are escape machines because they stack Z levels. Drive up one level of a parking garage, cross to the opposite ramp, and drop back to street through a different exit. The police AI struggles to connect those positions without seeing the transition. In the viaducts, use the half-height trick. Stop beneath a shallow bridge so your roof sits inches under concrete. The helicopter cone can't cut that slice, and cruisers can't look down the length without committing to the ramp. If you must move during a gray search, move only when a cone sweeps away. Think lighthouse timing, count the pass, then advance to the next pocket. Dumpsters, recessed doorways, bus stops tucked inside glass shelters, masks, tinted windows, and a low idle engine help, but discipline beats gear. The whole dance is corners, covers, and camouflage. To prove it, set a self-challenge in downtown. 2 blocks by 2 blocks, 3 stars, no highways. Turn once, duck an alley, slide under an overpass, swap into anything bland, and wait with the engine off. Watch the cones drift by like tide water. When they do, you'll see it. Stars aren't a speed test. They're a map-reading quiz. Change the station and you change the way you drive. Put on punk and you cut tighter lines. Switch to talk radio and you brake earlier without noticing. Radios in GTA aren't just background noise. They're the game's pulse, and the series treats them like a living timeline. You can hear the years change across titles. Vice City's immaculate 80s crates, San Andreas's early 90s blend of G-funk, alt-rock, and house, Liberty City's mid-2000s swagger, and Los Santos's 2010s mood board of trap, indie, and synth revival. The playlists don't just fit the era, they tell you where the developers think culture sat in that moment, which scenes were cool, which were corny, and which brands were ripe for parody. DJs carry that memory forward. Laszlo's awkward climbing the ladder persona runs like a thread through multiple games, a meta-joke about media people who follow trends instead of shaping them. Fernando's silky, ridiculous romance shtick pops up across cities like he's syndicated. Even when you don't consciously clock it, hearing those voices in a new place sells the shared universe. Someone kept working between games, someone moved markets, someone got a new sponsor. That continuity is subtle world building you absorb while running red lights. Ads are the glue between music and map. Fake brands, Pisswasser, E-Cola, Sprunk, Cluck and Bell, Life Invader, age with the series and shuffle by neighborhood wealth. You're more likely to hear, and later see, luxury mockery near rich districts and cheap thrills near the edges of town. The jingles are jokes, but they're also geography. They telegraph who the game thinks lives nearby and what they're being sold. Over time, the brand roster becomes a satire calendar. As social media swallows everything, up pops Life Invader. As energy drinks turn into lifestyle, Sprunk bulks up. As wellness fads spike, the stations slip in miracle cures that sound one lawsuit away from disaster. The radios also pace your driving. Music with steady, high BPMs nudges you to thread traffic and accept risk. Disco and funk make you carry speed through corners. Classic rock with long solos turns the freeway into a patient panorama. Talk radio does the opposite. Stories and callers demand attention, and you unconsciously slow to hear the tagline before a turn. If you don't believe it, try a simple test in Los Santos. Pick a familiar route from Vespucci to Vinewood and run 3 laps, once on a fast dance station, once on classic rock, once on talk radio. Don't look at the clock until the end. The lap times tell on you, and so does your footage. You'll see fewer fender benders on talk, more near misses on dance, and a cinematic steadiness on rock. Sometimes the radios even acknowledge the world. News breaks reference story beats. DJs toss in quips that feel freshly recorded for the mess you just made in the city. You change the state of Los Santos, and the airwaves behave like they noticed, folding your chaos into banter and headlines. That's the trick worth stealing if you're paying attention. GTA uses sound to teach mood, era, and place. Stations are memory machines that also steer your hands. Pick a track and the city becomes a different city. Keep the dial where it is, and you'll keep driving like the person that station expects you to be. You can cancel a stranger's 911 call mid-sentence just by holstering your weapon and stepping back into their eye line. Witness logic in GTA isn't decoration, it's judgment. Try it on a quiet Vespucci sidewalk with no police nearby. Fire a round into the air. Watch 2 pedestrians split. One ducks and runs. The other lifts a phone and starts narrating. As soon as you lower the gun and slow your walk, a slice of them will hesitate. Give them 3 beats of distance and a neutral posture. Many stop dialing and mutter a line that sounds like they're convincing themselves to let it go. If you raise the gun again, the call resumes instantly. The crowd is doing math on you in real time. Masks bend that math. With your face covered, witnesses read you as criminal on purpose, and more of them commit to calling. Some won't break the call even if you holster. They keep filming instead, which is its own escalation. Perform the same test twice, once barefaced, once masked, and pay attention to who stays to document. Masks change not just heat, but mood. People quit pleading and start narrating like they're making evidence. If you strip the mask mid-incident, a few recalibrate. The city treats a visible face as a chance you're just another hothead who can cool off. Phone cameras add a second timer to every mistake. Gawkers aim, frame, and advance in tiny steps that pull you into their orbit. The longer they record, the more likely someone else decides to call. You can break that chain without violence, step out of frame behind a mailbox, duck into an alcove, or simply walk toward the filmer at a non-threatening angle until the lens tilts down and they bail. The crowd reads intent the way you read posture in a cutscene. Holstered weapon, lowered shoulders, no sprinting, and a path that doesn't corner anyone. Bystanders also pass you between themselves like a rumor. Panic from a gunshot will ripple across a block, but the reason for the panic changes how far it travels. Fire into the air and half the street runs without looking back. Waggle a knife close to people, and you get a smaller stampede plus more phones. Smash a car window and you'll hear territorial lines. The owner screams louder. Nearby pedestrians judge. Someone across the street keeps walking like it's just Tuesday. Their lines teach neighborhoods. In rich areas you'll get faster calls and indignant monologues. In industrial strips you'll hear more "not my problem" and boots speeding up. Holstering is your best de-escalation tool, but silence helps. If a witness is in mid-report, don't sprint. Sprinting makes everyone decide you're still active. Walk away at city speed and break sight lines twice, once with a parked van, once at a corner, then glance back. If the caller's still narrating to nobody, you won. If they're finishing a description, prepare for a delayed response. Your behavior wrote a short story, and the block believed it. The point isn't to bully crowds, it's to realize they aren't props. Los Santos takes notes on how you stand, what you wear, and whether you insist on being the loudest thing on the block. The city watches, and it grades on posture. You can flip a boring family sedan with no ramp at all. Just kiss a curb at the right angle and speed. And that single dumb moment explains why GTA's physics make comedy land harder than any scripted gag. Under the hood, weight, grip, and animation keep trying to be serious. The laughs happen when those systems argue with each other in public. Start with people. The Euphoria ragdoll isn't a collapse switch, it's a negotiation. When a character trips, the engine fires, stumble save attempts, hips twist, a foot hunts for ground, hands flare for balance. Half the time they recover, half the time they pinwheel into a trash can, and the difference feels human. That micro fight between intention and inertia makes even a tiny shoulder bump funny, because you see the body try to salvage dignity before it gives up. Now the curb flip. Park with your right wheels up on a curb so the chassis tilts a few degrees. Nudge forward, steering slightly left, and jab the brake, then the throttle. 2 invisible things happen. The suspension compresses diagonally, and the inside tires briefly lose lateral grip. The car's center of mass climbs, the outer tires bite, and the whole shell trips over its own edge. No ramps, no cheats, just geometry turning a driveway into a stunt show. It looks ridiculous because the setup is mundane, but the sim is honest. You caused a slow-motion judo throw on your own chassis. Heavy versus light vehicles are the second punchline. Drive a box truck, and you'll feel lag in every decision. Steer, wait, then the mass agrees to turn. Hop in a featherweight sports car, and the opposite is true. Instant yaw, twitchy traction, drama over paint lines. The comedy isn't just sliding. It's watching a player bring sports car reflexes to a delivery truck and discovering that momentum is a personality trait. For proof, run the same S-curve in each class at the same speed. The coupe darts and overcorrects. The truck leans, protests, and then flops into a goofy 2-wheel scare that makes passengers scream in 5 languages. Characters inherit that honesty. Hit a curb on a motorcycle in the rain and you can watch 3 systems collide. Reduce tire friction from the wet, a tiny height delta at the curb, and euphoria's last-second ankle save. Sometimes the rider pulls it off with a cartoon hop. Sometimes the bike slides away while the body performs a doomed ballet that ends under a parked SUV. It's slapstick powered by simulation, not canned chaos. Then there's the train. The locomotive isn't invincible because the game says so. It's built with massive forward momentum and brute force traction that outvotes you. Park a dump truck across the rails, and the result isn't an explosion moment. It's an industrial physics demonstration. The engine shoves your plan down the track like a snowplow, your vehicle articulates into awkward angles, and every smaller system, doors, passengers, cargo, loses the argument. The laugh comes from inevitability. You tried to bargain with mass. If you want to feel the design on your hands, do 3 quick tests. Curb tilt flip in a pedestrian sedan, S-curve swap between featherweight and box truck, and a slow walk into a running NPC to watch the stumble save duel. The through line is simple. GTA plays physics straight, and because it does, every little mistake becomes a believable accident, and every believable accident becomes comedy. There's a serial killer mystery you can actually solve without a waypoint. The Infinity Killer leaves 8 clues on rocks and walls that lead you to his dump site if you read them in order. Start by visiting Merle Abraham's burned-out house in Sandy Shores. The interior is scrawled with 8 mantras and taunts that treat the murders like a math problem. From there, the trail spreads across San Andreas, hand-painted verses on boulders, bridge pylons, and cliff faces you'd never notice at 120 miles per hour. Each scribble names a direction or image, never a GPS coordinate. They lie on the coast, under the one that points north, when the tide is low. Bring a camera app and take photos at each stop. Lining them up turns nonsense into a route. When the lines finally click, you're staring at a cold cove beneath wind-carved stone. Slip into the water, and the case stops being a rumor. Bagged remains, a life preserver, and the final taunt confirm you read the world correctly. That same read the room skill breaks open movie-inspired random events with alternate outcomes. The desert cash pickup that nods to No Country for Old Men isn't a single scene. It branches by timing. Arrive early and the trucks are quiet. The briefcase is yours, and you leave with a pulse pounding in your ears. Show up late and the hush has curdled into sirens. Survivors are armed, and taking the same route out gets you boxed in. Treat it like a detective would. Park a ridge away. Scan with a scope. Count bodies and headlights. Then decide whether you're stealing evidence or stumbling into an active crime scene. Your decision writes a different third act every time. Once you start thinking like this, props and graffiti turn free roam into a breadcrumb hunt. A broken fence plus skid marks plus a single shoe near a storm drain tells you why an NPC keeps pacing at the corner. A receipt on a counter, a half-packed suitcase, and a voicemail snippet set up a robbery you can catch by waiting across the street at dusk. Alley murals are more than texture. Arrows, eyes, and repeated tags often point to ladders, roof gaps, or stash spots used in missions and still usable after. Even trash is testimony. A trail of ejected shell casings draws a dotted line from where someone panicked to where they hid. You're not just looting, you're reconstructing. Try a short detective loop to feel the system working. Pick 3 locations that reward careful eyes: a burned house, a bridge underbelly, a sea-bound cliff, and travel between them at walking speed with the radio low. Photograph any writing you find, translate images into instructions: north, low tide, under the sign, and obey them literally. For random events, run the same site twice an in-game day apart, and choose to arrive either early or late. The payoff isn't just money, it's the moment you realize the map is layered with solvable scenes the game never announces. The murder boards aren't on your wall, they're already painted on the city. Read, don't rush, and San Andreas starts telling you where its bodies are buried. Some doors only unlock when the clock says they should. Return to the same block after midnight, and the city quietly changes floor plans. Daylight makes a shop a simple storefront. At night, you'll find the shutter rolled halfway, a side staff door propped with a crate, and a sliver of interior you couldn't enter at noon. Convenience stores and barber shops are the easiest proofs. Watch the clerk flip the sign, then circle the building. There's often a metal service door in an alley that goes live when the front closes. Step through and you're in the same room you buy snacks in, but now it's lit like a break space, with radios low and staff wandering on short loops. If you push through at the wrong hour, it's dead steel. The schedule is the key. Mission states leave footprints too. Some interiors that were for this job only don't completely vanish when the cutscene ends. They hang around behind odd entries and load seams. A theater you robbed by the front becomes reachable from a roof light well later. A locked office you once entered with a story character might be re-entered by climbing a fire escape and cutting across ductwork to a maintenance hatch. The trick is to think in layers, not icons. If the game ever walked you through a space, there's a chance a backstage route still points there, just not from the obvious door. Rooftops and back alleys are the after-hours transit system. Look for ladder pairs that don't advertise themselves, one up from a dumpster corral, one down into a different block's courtyard. Those two ladders are a load seam in disguise. When you cross, props change, audio occlusion flips, and suddenly a window that was decoration in the daytime is interactable glass from this angle. Travel 3 roofs over, and you'll discover stair towers that open inward after dusk, security doors tied to a clock rather than a mission flag. From there, you can drop into corridors with vending machines, humming, and cleaning carts parked like breadcrumbs. If you want a clean test, take a block you think you know, say a Del Perro strip with a tattoo parlor, a liquor store, and a discount clothing shop. Visit at 2 p.m. and list what's sealed. Return at 11 p.m. and repeat. You'll catch small shifts first. Grates down, new lights on, staff chatting behind half-closed doors. Now run the loop. Alley ladder up to the roof, cross HVAC boxes, check for a glow under a rooftop door, and listen for interior reverb through vents. When you find one live, note the angle. The same door may be dead from street level, but usable from above because the game loads it as part of a different zone. The reward isn't just novelty, it's new exits. After-hours interiors connect to stairwells and catwalks that spit you out a street away, which makes them perfect for stealthy movement or clean escapes. Daytime teaches you storefronts. Nighttime teaches you staff routes. If you treat the clock as a master key and climb instead of sprinting straight lines, the map gives you a second city that only wakes up when most players log off. You can visit a town that doesn't exist on the map. North Yankton still loads, snow and all, if you hitch a ride through the right story window, because GTA keeps pocket maps alive for missions even after the credits. Think of Ludendorff as a sealed stage, floating off-screen. During the prologue and a later confrontation, the game streams in a separate chunk with its own weather filter, lighting, and collision. Most players only ever see it through cutscenes, but that space isn't a video. It's a real walkable slice that can still be reached when the mission logic flags are up. That's why you'll see explorers use mission replays and timing tricks to slip control back to free roam while the Snowtown remains loaded. What persists once you're there tells you how developers prioritize. Anything on the scripted path has full collision and detail. The cemetery, the bank frontage, the main street with tire tracks and snowdrift physics. Step off the intended route and the illusion thins. Residential blocks at the horizon become a matte painting you can't touch. Side alleys collapse into low-poly shapes with no footstep sounds. Climb far enough and you'll spot paper-flat barns pasted against sky. None of that is a bug. It's how you make a cinematic place economical. Spend polygons where the camera will be, paint the rest. Boundaries work the same way. In Los Santos, rails and cliffs corral you. In North Yankton, the world is a bowl with sharp edges. Push a car past plowed streets, and you'll find snow that looks thick but has no grip model. The tires float like skates, then the chassis falls through absent collision and respawns you on firmer ground. Try to circle the town by skirting the fields, and you'll hit an invisible wall, really just the border where streaming stops. Keep a close eye on shadows. When they flatten or vanish, you're walking on the cardboard part of the stage. Because the chunk is mission-scoped, certain systems are simplified. Traffic is sparse or faked. Pedestrians follow short, looping routes and often lack the deep barks and behaviors you hear in Los Santos. Interiors that felt alive in a cutscene, warm windows, shouting behind doors, are often props with no interaction because the scene never expected you to press E there. The snow effect is mostly post-processing and particle layers rather than a full climate sim. It looks perfect at waist height and less convincing if you stare at the horizon for long. Why keep these pocket maps around? 2 reasons. Performance and storytelling. Instancing a bespoke town lets the prologue hit a mood that sunny San Andreas can't. It also protects memory budgets. Stream a small dense slice, unload it, and you get a movie-caliber scene without paying for a whole second stayed on disk. The leftover hooks you exploit are artifacts of that pipeline. Mission flags tell the streamer, "Load Yankton." Your timing keeps it from unloading, and you get to wander the set after the crew went home. If you want to appreciate the craft, walk the bank route slowly, then deliberately break the frame. Step off the plow lines, watch detail drop, listen for the moment ambience goes thin, and you'll feel how the game paints reality only where the story needs you to stand. You can turn a single mission into millions. Lester's assassinations are designed to teach the market, not just the plot. Before the hotel assassination, put all 3 protagonists' cash into Beta Pharmaceuticals on the LCN exchange, run the hit, then sleep to skip time and watch beat soar. Sell near the peak, then flip that profit into Bilkington for the rebound and cash out again. On multi-target, load up Debonair, complete the mission, sell high, then buy the rival Redwood as it crashes and ride the recovery. Vice assassination, fruit goes up, facade stumbles, both are opportunities in sequence. Bus assassination makes Vapid briefly crater, construction assassination pushes Gold Coast through the roof. The rhythm is always the same, buy the beneficiary before, sell at peak after, then buy the rival's dip. Save before each mission, check prices every few in-game hours by sleeping, and spread every dollar across all 3 characters to multiply the effect. Vendors and vehicles refresh on rules you can learn. Ammunition discounts rotate on a simple timer. If you're kitting out for a spree, buy once, step outside, save, and sleep to roll the clock forward until the price tag changes. Los Santos Customs is a different lesson. Resale values depend on base car class, plus installed mods, so a clean, mid-tier coupe with cheap upgrades can beat a scratched supercar the shop won't even take. Park near a high-end spawn street, look away until traffic despawns, then pan back. Repeating that camera sweep re-rolls parked cars without driving a block. Treat the street like a fishing spot. Same place, new bites. Predictable windows around lunch and evening rush. Random events are farming you can do without feeling dirty if you set house rules. Pick 2 or 3 safe events, mugger ambushes, stranded motorists, armored vans, and decide you get 1 attempt per in-game day, no reloads. Approach the trigger zone from different angles to re-roll what spawns without breaking immersion. A highway shoulder from the off-ramp, then from the frontage road, then on foot from the ditch. Arrive early and you might find an untouched score. Arrive late and you'll face resistance but a bigger payout. Log your route, return in different weather, and you'll start seeing patterns. Some events love dusk, others show up more in rain, and almost all of them respect the idea that you're wandering rather than grinding. If you want a clean, ethical run that still feels clever, stack these systems in 1 afternoon. Start by investing for the next assassination, then jog 2 vendor timers by sleeping at separate safe houses. Drive to a known luxury spawn, roll traffic with a look away, and bank a sellable car. On your way to the mission marker, pass through a random event corridor at a new angle and accept whatever the city throws at you once. After the hit, sell the winner, buy the rival's dip, and put the car cash into that rebound for extra lift. The real exploit isn't a glitch, it's paying attention to clocks, cones, and cycles. Treat money like weather you can read, not magic you summon, and the city will pay you for learning its forecast. You can predict a crash just by the curb. A light sports car will skip and twitch over a 1-inch edge that a heavy sedan grinds through like it isn't there, and that tiny difference explains almost every "why did I spin" moment in GTA. Vehicle class sets weight and suspension first, grip second, and your inputs third. Featherweights feel heroic until a curb steals 1 tire, and the other 3 try to keep the plan. The chassis pivots, grip breaks, and the car performs a surprise half-spin, even at city speeds. Midweights tolerate sloppy angles. They compress, scrape, and keep vector with a scolding wobble. Trucks and vans are the opposite joke. They won't dart, but once committed, They carry stubborn momentum that shoves you wide if you turn late. Run a simple test on the same S-bend, coupe, sedan, box truck. You'll learn that weight isn't just speed, it's authority over chaos. Water rewrites grip in ways that look like myth until you measure them. Shallow flood across a boulevard acts like oil for motorcycles and featherweights. The contact patch goes slick, then the curb at the puddle's edge yanks you sideways. In deeper splashes, sedans lose throttle first and steering second. You can still aim, but the car refuses to accelerate, which tricks players into oversteering and pirouetting. SUVs, with higher ride height, cheat this a bit. Their intakes sit higher, so you get a second or two more power before the engine coughs. If you must cross standing water, enter straight, no mid-turn inputs, and let the car settle before you ask for speed again. Boats teach a quieter lesson. Wake is a moving wall you can surf or fight. Follow too closely behind a speedboat and your bow climbs its wave, lifting your prop and stealing thrust. The boat feels sluggish and wanders. Cut diagonally across a wake at throttle and you'll feel the hull slap, then stabilize on the far side like a skateboard landing a manual. Heavier boats ignore small wakes but pay a price in turn-in delay. Jet skis snap turn but get bullied by anything that throws a big V behind it. For cinematic passes, time your crossing right after the leading boat's throttle drops. Wake height dips for a moment and you skip through clean. Motorcycles in rain are comedy and tragedy rolled together. The tire model gives you just enough friction to believe, then removes it if you lean on paint lines, metal grates, or curbs. The right move is weirdly conservative. Brake earlier than you think, stand the bike up before every lane change, and treat crosswalk paint like ice. If you do slide, Euphoria will try a hero save, hips twist, foot dabs, but your throttle decides whether that save sticks. Ease off and you wobble away. Goose it, and the back tire writes your name in rainwater. And off-road tires? They're not magic everywhere. They're specific help in dirt, gravel, and grass, where road tires skate. On tarmac, they often feel worse. Softer sidewalls, slower response. If your route mixes city and scrub, swap to off-road on a mid-weight SUV instead of a sports car. You gain forgiveness over ruts without throwing away all precision on asphalt. The rule of thumb is simple: respect edges, respect water, pick weight for the job, and remember that every surface in Los Santos carries its own fine print. Some encounters only exist for an hour a day. Walk past an empty alley at 4 a.m., come back at 11 p.m., and it's suddenly a scene with a fight, a deal, or a rare car that never spawns in daylight. In GTA, the clock isn't decoration, it's a content switch. Treat time like gear. Pick a small triangle of streets you know, run it once at noon to learn the baseline, then roll the clock and repeat at dusk, midnight, and dawn. You'll notice how the city breathes. Shop doors flip, neon wakes up, and the people on the sidewalks change from commuters to club lines to the after-shift quiet you only get when the street cleaners own the block. Weather is the second switch. Storms aren't just mood, they unlock behaviors. Coastal roads become slippery enough that AI drivers misjudge braking and cause little chain crashes you can scavenge for cash and cars. Out at sea, rough water makes boat traffic bunch up and stalls smaller craft, which makes certain random events easier to intercept. Inland, rain pushes pedestrians under awnings and into transit hubs, concentrating chatter and cell cameras in tight pockets. Even animals respect the sky. You'll hear more coyotes just after a shower out in the scrub, and mountain lions move more at the bookends of the day when the heat breaks. Crowds shift with the calendar you can't see. Weekdays stuff rich districts with suits at lunch and skinny the beaches. Weekends reverse it. Vespucci swells, lifeguard stands get company, buskers multiply, and the boardwalk turns into a slow obstacle course that's perfect for pickpocket random events and phone camera gawkers. Vinewood flips after dark. Paparazzi loops and club door scuffles spike around closing time, and the cross streets grow little lines of idling cars with impatient horns. If you're hunting street races or loud cars to steal, that midnight to 2 a.m. window near nightlife corridors is a goldmine. The same roads at 9 a.m. are nothing but delivery vans and patience tests. Lighting is a third teacher. At night, certain windows glow differently because the interior is loaded from a back route. The spill on the pavement gives it away even if the front door is locked. Construction sites swap floodlights on at dusk, which means ladders and catwalks you missed at noon are suddenly readable from half a block away. Freeway signage becomes stealth gear. Underpasses paint predictable light bands, and if you park in the dark slice between pools of sodium orange, you're nearly invisible to anything looking from the open sky. To exploit all of this without breaking immersion, adopt a 2-run method. First run, radio low, walk speed, noon. Mark 3 corners and 1 interior you can see through glass. Second run, the same route at midnight in rain. Don't sprint. Photograph any differences. New NPC roles, new doors, new props like cones and cleaning carts. If you've got time, add a dawn lap in clear weather. That early blue light draws wildlife and empties human crowds, so sound cues pop. Footsteps, one-way conversations, a phone ringing behind a shutter. Rare spawns stop feeling random when you set the scene. Put the clock where it belongs, wait for the right sky, and the city starts revealing secrets it was saving for the patient. Billboards in GTA change when the zip code changes. Drive from Davis to Rockford Hills, and you can watch the ad economy climb the tax bracket in real time. In working-class strips, the skyline pushes cheap beer, lottery tickets, pawn loans, all-caps promises for cash now. Head uphill and the palette softens, luxury watches, investment advice, boutique wellness powders that sound like lawsuits. The jokes are obvious, but the pattern is world-building. The city tells you who lives here by what it tries to sell them. Start with the drinks war. Sprunk and Ecola are the loudest neighbors on the same block, but they stalk different audiences. Near beaches and skate parks, Sprunk's green blasts out adrenaline and extreme verbs. The cans sit in vending machines next to BMX posters and surf rentals. Downtown, Ecola billboards pose like classic Americana. Red, proud, taste the D's nostalgia. Because office towers by tradition. Late at night, you'll catch cheaper off-brand sodas muscling into bus stops on the edges of town, the same way real cities weaponize sugar when rent is due. Fast food follows the same logic. Cluck and Bell is everywhere, but pay attention to the side ads. In leaner districts, it peddles combo value buckets. In rich zones, it leans on smug mascots and faux farm rhetoric. Burger Shot's parody of Artisan follows money too. 1 mile closer to Vinewood, and suddenly there's an ad for a hand-massaged brioche the size of your head. The gag lands because the map enforces it. Which brand dominates a corner tells you if your next random encounter is a suit, a busker, or a guy hawking bootleg DVDs. Tech satire keeps the timeline straight. Life Invader arrives as social media eats the world, and its ads mutate across games from breathless, connect everything to the colder, ad tech creepiness that brags about knowing you better than you do. Radio spots echo it, cheery voices bragging about targeted reach while saying the quiet part loud. Downtown, you'll see the billboards perched near software campuses and VC glass. In the county, you'll catch discount phone kiosks selling knockoffs that promise the same lifestyle for a fraction of the price. Even the fonts tell on the fantasy. Sleek sans serifs uptown, loud condensed caps and starbursts across the river. Cigarettes and stocks link satire to mechanics. Redwood and Debonair aren't just fake brands. They're the companies you manipulate during assassination arcs, and the outdoor ads foreshadow the punchline. In the run-up to those missions, notice where the logos gather. Finance corridors, highways near the airport, places investors might see them. After you push a stock, some placements subtly rotate, new campaigns, new chest thumping, and your drive through the city doubles as a profit victory lap. The map congratulates you without a cutscene. Old eras keep their graffiti. In Vice City, 80s pastels and chrome promise excess like it's a civic duty. San Andreas paints the early 90s with mixtapes, low-rider flyers, and fast food sponsorships that hit every subculture at once. Liberty City's mid-2000s sneer is all hedge fund swagger, diet pills, and fear-based news teasers. By the time you're back in Los Santos, the billboards talk in meme cadence and wellness cult syllables. The timeline reads like a joke museum you can drive through. If you want to see the system working, do a simple test. Start in a low-rent district and photograph 5 ads. Then drive a straight line to the richest block you can find and shoot 5 more. Lay them out side by side. Price point, color, typography, product. You'll have a map without street names. GTA's fake economy is the lore. Slogans are NPCs, logos are landmarks, and the joke gets sharper the slower you read it. Big missions secretly teach you how to play the whole city. Every heist is a class in casing, gear, execution, and escape, smuggled in under explosions. Watch the pattern. Before the job, the game walks you past guards, cameras, and choke points, and lets you pretend you're just picking dialogue. That's casing, and it plants a mental map. Which doors are locked, which roofs connect, which alleys run clean to a main road. When prep starts, those notes turn into shopping lists. Masks, getaway cars, jammers, uniforms that double as a lecture on which systems matter. By the time the plan kicks off, you've rehearsed without calling it practice. The loudest set pieces always hide a silent route. If a mission opens with sirens and gun trucks, scan for the parts that don't match the noise. A half-open service door, a ladder painted the same color as the wall, a window with interior light that spills on the sidewalk. Those props aren't accidents. They're the stealth path the designers want you to notice once you've calmed down. Try replaying any banger 2 ways, guns blazing first, then again with a rule. No shots, no alarms. You'll find vents that accept a crouch, guard loops with a gap, and camera arcs you can slip between if you wait 1 extra beat. The reward isn't only money, it's discovering that most mandatory shootouts are optional if you've been taught to read angles. Escape lanes are planted in the set dressing long before you need them. During cutscenes, you're shown a getaway alley, a staircase to a maintenance roof, or a construction chute that lands you on a service road. In the moment, they feel like decoration. 10 minutes later, they're the difference between a doomed straight-line sprint and a clean vanish. Make a habit of spotting anything that looks like a logistics object, rolling doors, pallet ramps, scaffolding, and ask yourself 2 questions. Where does this drop me, and what breaks line of sight from there? If the answer is to a parallel street with a roof overpass, you just found the designer's intended clean exit. Multi-protagonist switching is film grammar you control. The game shows you that an angle change solves problems. Snipers clear trucks, drivers cover runners, pilots erase police cones. That lesson works outside the mission too. In free roam, think like a switch even when you can't switch. Change verticality to rewrite the scene, not speed. Parking garages, skywalks, and storm drains are character swaps in architecture. To feel the teaching stack, pick a favorite heist and run a 3-pass study. Pass 1. Watch the pre-job walk as if it's a tutorial. Pause on guard posts and doors and memorize 2 exits. Pass 2. Stealth rules. Lean on uniforms, vents, and loops you caught by accident the first time. Pass 3. Escape with almost no driving. Use the pre-planted alley or roof, swap cars under cover, and shut the engine off within 2 blocks. When you step back into regular crimes, the same grammar applies. GTA hides its best lessons in spectacle, then expects you to notice them when the fireworks end. Pedestrian accents, slang, and even job chatter change by district and time. Stand in Davis at noon, and you'll hear fast-clipped talk and food truck barkers. Move to Rockford Hills, and it flips to concierge tone, soft apologies, and "Sir, ma'am." This isn't flavor text. It tells you who will intervene, who will film, and who will walk away. In working-class zones, bystanders comment out loud and call earlier. In luxury corridors, security and valets step in first, while shoppers step back and pull out phones. Time slots swap the cast. At 7 a.m., industrial blocks fill with high-vis vests, hard hats, and pallet jacks. Foremen argue into radios, and workers cut across alleys at speed. At lunch downtown, you'll get office slang, courier bikes, and lobby guards trading sports scores. After 10 p.m. around Vinewood clubs, lines appear. Paparazzi patrol curb lanes, and ride shares loop aggressively. Expect more filming and slower foot traffic there, perfect for pickpocket or phone snatch events. Weather changes density and behavior. Rain pushes crowds under awnings and bus stops, which increases phone camera use and makes witnesses hang around longer. Clear, windy evenings spread people out. Fewer phones, fewer 911 calls. Fog near the coast lowers volume and concentrates NPCs at piers and shelters. It's easier to move unseen, but harder to escape once spotted because sightlines are short and cones stack. Clothing telegraphs role and reaction. Uniforms with radios, security, custodial, construction are more likely to alert or block a door. Hospitality staff try to de-escalate before calling. Buskers narrate and draw attention. Joggers and dog walkers bail quickly unless boxed in. If you're deciding where to start trouble or avoid it, read outfits first and you'll predict the response. Routines are consistent by hour. Construction sites swap to hoodies and loiterers after dusk. Stairwells and scaffolds become shortcuts with fewer eyes. Financial districts empty at night, but early mornings bring delivery routes and cleaning crews that loop predictable paths. Beachfront flips from families and vendors in daylight to small performance circles and couples after dark. More spectators means more phones and slower police visibility. Ambient lines carry location info you can use. A valet mentions garage full 2 blocks north. There's your safe car stash. A barista complains about closing at 11 sharp. That shop becomes an after-hours entry in Chapter 7 terms. Teenagers arguing about a meet under the freeway at midnight tell you where street races tend to start. Treat overheard lines as free waypoints. You can test all of this fast. Pick 3 corners, 1 beach, 1 industrial, 1 luxury retail. Visit each at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 11 p.m., once in rain and once in clear. Count phones raised within 10 seconds of a provocation. Track who calls 911 first. Note which uniforms appear and where. After 2 loops, you'll predict outcomes. More filming and slower movement in club zones. Quicker 911 in affluent shopping streets. Faster dispersal in factory strips. Highest witness density during rain. The takeaway is practical. If you need anonymity, move through windy evenings and business districts after hours. If you want bystander chaos for clips, pick rainy nights near nightlife lines. And if you want to stay invisible while loud, avoid uniforms with radios and never linger near awnings. Those are witness magnets. Some mission-only interiors still work later if you approach from the right angle. Blue double doors, roof hatches, and side service entries can load an interior the front door won't. Start by scouting during the mission. Note every exit the game shows you. Alley roll-up, stair tower, skylight, maintenance hatch. After the mission, return and test those same entries first. Blue-painted metal double doors and windowed service doors are common entry markers. Many are dead from the sidewalk, but live from a roof or inner courtyard because the interior streams with a different zone. Think in load seams. If an area straddles 2 streaming chunks, the door may only wake when you cross the seam from the backstage side. Typical seams hide at alley bends, parking garage ramps, or mid-roof catwalks. Walk 50 meters past the door, climb to a different elevation, and come back along the other face of the building. If the glass starts showing true parallax, not a flat photo, the room is loaded. Try the handle again. If it stays dead at noon, repeat at night. Some security doors swap state after hours even without an active mission. Roofs are your best bet. Fire escapes that were set dressing during the job often connect to real stair towers later. Climb, circle HVAC boxes, and look for a single lit door or a roof access marked stairs. If you find a lit rectangle on the floor or hear interior reverb bleeding through a vent, that level is streamed. Breakable skylights are rare, but roof doors that open inward after dusk are common. They drop you into corridors with vending machines and maintenance closets you couldn't touch from street level. Use stunt entries when doors refuse. A short motorcycle bunny hop can pop you onto low loading docks or through half-height roll-ups. Parachutes let you drop into atriums the front desk blocks. Delivery vans make good ladders, back one to a wall, roof to hood to ledge, then up to a balcony that bypasses the lobby. If an interior has a glass vestibule, ramming won't help, but climbing to a side balcony often turns the same glass into a true portal from that angle. Expect odd persistence. Rooms critical to a mission path usually keep collision and props. Side offices and deep wings often downgrade to shells. You'll notice missing NPC behavior, locked elevators, or doors that open to black because that subzone isn't streamed without the mission flag. Treat it like a museum under renovation. Main hall is real, wings are plywood. If you enter and the minimap flattens or footstep sounds vanish, you've walked past the supported area. Back up 1 doorway, and the audio will return. Here's a quick loop you can repeat anywhere. Approach late. 2300 to 100. Circle once at street level, climb to the roof and test every door, cross a load seam, alley bend, or garage ramp. Reapproach the same entry from the backside, then try a stun entry if nothing wakes. Mark what loads and what doesn't on your map notes. Most wins are practical spaces, theaters, small banks, backstage hallways, staff corridors in malls, while deep set pieces rarely persist. The payoff is new shortcuts and clean exits in areas everyone else treats as walls. You can force many random events to appear by changing how you enter the trigger. Approach angle, speed, and even whether you're on foot or in a car can flip the spawn table. Think of each event as a hidden bubble with a direction-sensitive doorway. If you blast straight down the center line at 80 miles per hour, you often punch through and resolve the default case. If you creep in from a side street at 20 miles per hour or arrive on foot from behind cover, you get a different roll. Park one block out, cut the engine, and walk the last 30 meters. Foot entry reduces traffic noise and keeps the cell from overpopulating before the script fires, which preserves rarer outcomes. Time windows are the second lever. Many events check clock and light level before they pick a scene. Set a repeatable test. Pick a route with 3 known event corridors. Run it at noon, then at dusk, then at 23:30 in light rain. Keep the order identical. You'll see patterns quickly. Hold-ups and distressed motorists near closing time, stranded vehicles after storms, shady trades clustering around midnight. Use a safe house close to your loop so you can sleep to the next window in approximately 6 hours, and try again without crossing half the map. Crossing long distances can cause the game to stream new traffic and use up an event slot elsewhere. Angle matters more than players realize. Approach a freeway off-ramp from the ramp, and you'll usually get a broken-down car. Approach the same pocket on the frontage road, and you might get an ambush or nothing at all, because the trigger expects entry from above. Try 3 passes, ramp, frontage, and parallel side street. Keep speed consistent per pass and log results. If a pocket is stubborn, reset by turning your back to the zone and walking 40 to 50 meters away until ambient traffic despawns, then re-enter from a new vector. Looking away for a full second during the last 15 meters can also help. Some events evaluate when they enter the camera frustum. Late arrivals change outcomes, not just dialogue. Many scenes have early active aftermath states. Get there early and you intercept a clean handoff or rescue. Arrive during the middle and you fight for it. Show up late and you scavenge what's left, or chase a fleeing car for a bonus. To test this cleanly, stage just outside the bubble, start a timer when the first line of NPC chatter kicks, then intentionally circle the block once before re-entry. You'll see cars move, bodies fall, or NPCs flee based on that small delay. Vehicle choice and sirens also nudge the table. Loud entries, siren on, weapon out, can scare off NPCs the script tries to place. Stealth entries keep witnesses and payouts intact. Motorcycles make it easier to thread exact angles. Vans give you rolling cover if the result is hostile. Here's a simple farming rule that keeps it from feeling cheesy. 1 attempt per in-game day per corridor. No reloads. Run your triangle at 2 times, day and night. Vary angle each lap, and take whatever the world gives you. After a few cycles, random stops being random. You'll know which pockets prefer which windows, which direction wakes the better rolls, and how a 10-second delay can turn a quiet shoulder into a full chase. You can cause a wreck, switch characters, play for 10 minutes, switch back, and find the crash still being cleared with the same cars and NPCs you nudged earlier. That's the point of player switching. The world keeps running when you're not looking. Test it on a busy arterial near Legion Square. Cut off a delivery van so it brakes hard and blocks a lane, then switch to another protagonist and do anything else for a few in-game minutes. When you jump back, traffic won't be reset to generic flow. You'll often return to horn stacks, tow trucks, and AI that rerouted itself around the original blockage. Sometimes the jam matured into a fender bender 2 lights down because someone impatient tried to squeeze by. Your small shove turned into a chain reaction while you were gone. Schedules persist the same way. Pick a shop that closes at 2300 hours. At 2250, watch the clerks start the closing routine. Sign flip, lights change, backroom walk, switch away before the door locks, run a quick errand as another character, then return. You'll find the shutter down and the clerk on their post-close loop inside, not frozen in pre-close state. Construction sites do it too. At 1700, you'll see high-vis vests heading for exits, switch out and back at 2100 and those bodies are gone, replaced by night shift security pacing short routes. The game didn't sleep the scene, it advanced it. Crimes leave residue across switches, start a small mess, pop a tire on a random sedan, scare the crowd, drive off, and swap characters. Come back later and that car might be on a rim in a different parking spot or waiting for a tow, with a couple of NPCs arguing about who's to blame. If you lit a dumpster, expect a scorched asset and emergency vehicles clearing the lane, not a pristine reset. Ambulance and fire AI have their own timers. They can arrive and depart while you're watching a completely different cutaway with another character. Wildlife and weather also keep count. Spook a herd of deer in the hills and they'll scatter into a gully, switch, run a mission, and return near dawn to catch them bedded in a different patch because the temperature and light changed. Start a rainstorm chase downtown, switch to someone inland, and later come back to find puddles lingering and pedestrians using umbrellas while the last drops hit. Transitions don't snap, they decay. You can use this to set traps or stage shots. Push a truck to block a narrow bridge, switch, and give the jam time to build. When you return, park above and record the chaos you engineered. Plant a getaway car in a quiet alley, swap characters, play a mission, and the car will generally still be there, engine state and damage intact, because persistence covers parked vehicles inside active cells. For stealth runs, start a distraction. Alarm, small fire, fight. Switch out to clear your wanted heat. Then come back to a lighter police presence after the city handled the noise. The clean proof is a 3-step loop. Create a small change. Switch away for 5 to 10 in-game minutes. Switch back to the same corner and observe what evolved. You'll stop treating switching as a fast travel trick and start using it like a time skip button. GTA's simulation doesn't pause for you. It plays on, and it writes consequences while you're somewhere else. A mask can double the number of people who finish a 911 call. Same street, same stunt, different face, and that small cosmetic choice changes how the whole scene plays out. Test it in a busy retail block. Fire a single round, holster, and watch. Barefaced, a chunk of pedestrians abort the call and walk. Masked, more stay on the line or lift their phones to film. If you pull the mask off mid-incident, some witnesses downgrade from reporting to complaining, which shortens the window before cops arrive. The crowd reads intent off your head, not just your hands. Haircuts and clothes are the next switches. A clean haircut and neutral outfit blends in and reduces how quickly people clock you after a minor crime. Go from a neon jacket and loud sneakers to plain jeans and a dark hoodie, then repeat the same misdemeanor 2 blocks over. You'll get fewer immediate stares and more "did I really see that?" looks. Uniform-adjacent clothing, high-vis vests, coveralls can buy you seconds in service corridors because NPCs expect workers there. The inverse is true too. Flashy suits in poorer districts draw attention, and bystanders narrate you out loud, which feeds witnesses to the scene faster. Silencers are not just about damage numbers. They shrink the noise radius that wakes witnesses and police logic. Fire a silenced pistol in an alley, and you'll attract the 2 NPCs who can actually see you. Fire the same unsuppressed shot, and the block reacts in a ripple, including people around a corner who never saw the muzzle flash. Suppressors also change how long panic lasts. Fewer NPCs lock in to the event, so de-escalation by holstering works faster. The rule is simple. Suppressed in tight spaces, loud only when distance is your shield. Vehicles broadcast identity. Tinted windows reduce how quickly drivers and pedestrians identify you as the offender after a hit and run or petty theft. Light to medium tint buys you just enough ambiguity at crosswalks and in slow traffic for witnesses to hesitate. Combine tint with a bland paint job, and you're essentially wearing a disguise on wheels. Vehicle silhouette matters too. Swap from a bright sports car with a distinctive spoiler to a beige sedan, and cones that briefly reappear during a search are less likely to stick. Police AI remembers a car shape. If you change the outline undercover, you shed heat faster. Small props multiply the effect. A cap pulled low plus sunglasses confuses cameras and witness lines. Remove them as you exit a block and the "That's Him" chorus dies down. Backpacks, duffels, and obvious holsters make NPCs read you as active even when the gun is holstered. Ditch the bag before you stroll past a security desk. Shoes change audio. Quiet soles make it easier to sneak inside after hours interiors without flipping heads as quickly. Put it all together in a quick loop. Start unmasked in bright clothes and do a minor provocation. Note phones raised within 5 seconds. Change into muted clothing. Add a cap, fit a suppressor, and repeat on the next block. Swap the loud coupe for a dull sedan with tint, then retrace your route. You'll feel the city hesitate. Fewer calls complete, fewer heads track you, and search cones fade faster. None of this replaces geometry or timing from other chapters. But if you treat cosmetics like gear, Los Santos starts forgiving the same moves it punished 10 minutes ago. You can skip whole mission chunks in older GTAs by answering a phone at the right frame or hijacking a taxi cutscene. Speedrunners turn tutorial pop-ups and cab fares into level skips. The idea is simple. Missions are glued together by flags that say what you've done and states that say where you are. If you make the game set a flag while your character is technically inside another activity, like accepting a taxi job or a ringing payphone, the scripts collide. The cleanest example is phone manipulation. You park near a trigger, let a call prompt appear, step into a mission marker, and accept the call at the exact frame the mission tries to fade in. The phone intro steals control. The mission sets its started flag anyway, and you load back in with objectives marked as complete or with a checkpoint moved forward. Taxi manipulation works the same way. Older titles fade to black, place you in a taxi, and restore control. If you can make that fade happen on top of a mission transition, you keep the mission's progress, but skip the travel or an early set piece. Runners use this to chain objectives without letting the game reset the world. The technique has rules. You need a taxi available, a nearby mission marker, and a spot to park so the fade overlaps a checkpoint. Then it's just timing. Checkpoint flags are the backbone. Every mission has a handful: reached location, picked up item, watched cutscene, escaped radius. If you can force the escapes radius check before the entered combat check, the game happily thinks you finished the fight you never started. That's why you'll see runners hug the outer edge of yellow circles or climb onto props right next to them. Sometimes crossing a line high up or from the wrong side still flips the flag. Out of bounds is the blunt tool. The map isn't one solid thing. It's stitched chunks with invisible walls to hide the seams. If you wedge a motorcycle against a railing or bounce a character off a sloped pillar, you can sometimes pop outside the intended collision and drop into a loading corridor. From there, doors that should be locked open from the wrong side, or you can run above a ceiling straight to an end trigger. The risk is soft locks. Hit a zone with no scripts and you get stuck, but practiced routes mark safe ledges and recovery teleports. Categories exist to keep this honest and interesting. Any percent says, reach credits fast, anything goes, so you'll see all the phone/taxi tricks and OOB. Glitchless bans the big exploits and becomes a race of clean driving, combat routing, and AI manipulation. 100% demands every collectible and side activity, so runners plan routes that combine money, weapon unlocks, and travel efficiencies without painting themselves into late-game corners. Newer all missions or all heists categories sit in between and focus on story content only. The categories aren't bureaucracy, they're lenses that reveal different skeletons of the same game. If you want to feel the logic without grinding, try a safe microtech. Park a car next to a mission start, get a phone prompt active, and practice accepting it as the screen begins to fade. You'll start to see the seams when control is taken, when flags flip, when a checkpoint lights. That's the appeal. Speedruns turn GTA inside out and show the wiring. Once you've seen the skeleton, even casual play gets smarter, because you'll know why certain doors open early, why some markers complete from weird angles, and how a ringing phone can be the fastest tool in the city. You can schedule perfect plane and ship flybys without mods. The city runs on loops you can time like a bus route. For air traffic, stand on the LSIA roof parking or the hill by the Vinewood sign and watch 3 cycles, landing line from the south, takeoff to the west, and occasional crosswind approaches. Count the interval between 2 landings. It's typically a few in-game minutes. Start recording 15 seconds before the next slot, and you'll catch a clean touchdown framed by skyline. For cargo ships set up on Del Perro Pier or the breakwater near Elysian Island, tankers crawl along fixed lanes. Track 1 with the rail camera from a parked car, and you get a steady lateral pan without fighting sticks. Magic hour is free color grading. Sunrise hits the east faces of downtown. Sunset backlights the same towers and hides traffic in silhouette. If you want warm, cinematic contrast, record 30 in-game minutes after sunrise or 30 before sunset. For cleaner skies and longer shadows, pick a clear day. For texture on water and neon reflections, choose light rain at dusk. Lock exposure by aiming at mid-tone concrete before you pan to the skyline. That prevents the auto-exposure pulse that ruins wide shots. Skyline flyovers don't require a perfect helicopter hand. Use the blimp or a slow plane, climb to 500 to 700 meters, then pull back to near stall and let the craft float. Tap rudder only, no pitch, to drift a straight line over downtown. If you need a parallax hero shot, orbit at half throttle around the Maze Bank Tower while the sun sits low. Buildings layer cleanly and traffic glitters without jitter. For a ground alternative, ride the Vinewood Hills Ridge Road and mount the camera to bumper view. The guardrail and city reveal give you a built-in reveal as you crest each turn. Water shots are smoother if you respect wake. Follow a large boat at a diagonal, not directly in its trail. The wake will bounce you less, and the angle shows hull, waterline, and skyline in one frame. For pier time-lapses, park on the outer elbow, tilt down 10 degrees, and let NPC loops do the work. Joggers, fishermen, and patrol boats give you natural beats every 20 to 40 seconds. The in-game camera apps are better than they look. Use Snapmatic for handheld vibe, crouch to stabilize, toggle depth of field, and bump vignette to hide aliasing at the edges. For B-roll that cuts anywhere, record with the main capture, then use director mode to lock time and weather so inserts match. Need a dolly? Sit in the back of a slow van and look sideways. The van becomes a moving slider. Need a crane? Stand on a flatbed, raise the camera, and let the truck roll a block. Repeatable recipe list you can run today. LSIA, landings from the roof at sunrise. Del Perro Pier, ship lateral in light rain at dusk. Maze Bank orbit at golden hour using rudder only. Vinewood Ridge Road crest reveals in clear weather. Snapmatic street-level crowd shots in overcast to avoid harsh shadows. Stack them, and you've got a full montage. Consistent light, smooth motion, and shots that look planned because, in this city, they are. You can make the city behave differently without starting a mission. Set the clock, switch the weather, pick a route with cover, and Los Santos answers like you pressed a hidden button. That's why GTA feels alive. The best moments aren't scripted. They're triggered by ambient systems that react to whatever you do next. Time decides which doors are open and who's on the sidewalk. Weather changes grip, crowd density, and where NPCs choose to stand. Geometry, alleys, roofs, tunnels, decides whether anyone can see you at all. When you treat those 3 as verbs, the map stops being a backdrop and starts being something you operate. Watch how fast the world changes when you use that mindset. Midnight and rain pull witnesses under awnings, which creates slower crowds and more phones aimed your way. The same corner on a windy evening has fewer people and less heat. A 2-block box with pillars and bridges can erase a wanted level because line of sight is the real difficulty, not the number of stars. Move the clock and you also move the cast. Day shifts bring uniforms and delivery routes. Nights bring lines, valets, paparazzi, and different random events. None of this requires a marker. You set conditions and systems do the rest. The physics keep it honest. Cars don't slide because a cutscene needs drama. They slide because weight, curbs, and water argue with your inputs. That seriousness is why jokes land. A sedan trips over a 1-inch edge, a ragdoll tries, and sometimes fails, to recover dignity. A train refuses your plan because mass wins. When failure makes sense, every near miss or wipeout feels like you authored it, not the game. Satire stitches those mechanics to place. Ads and brands swap with the neighborhood, so your route isn't just streets, it's a tour through who lives there and what they're being sold. Change districts and the jokes change voice, change eras across titles and the jokes change targets. That steady background commentary makes your footage read like it belongs to a culture, not a sandbox. Crowd logic closes the loop. Witnesses don't flip out uniformly, masks increase completed calls. Holstering calms some people and not others. Uniforms with radios intervene differently than buskers or joggers. The same behavior gets a new reaction just by crossing a boulevard or changing your clothes. You're not running past props. You're negotiating with people who keep score. Put it together, and the pattern is clear. The game rewards players who plan scenes, not just fights. Choose an hour, pick the sky, bring the right vehicle silhouette, and route through cover. Expect a different set of bystanders and a different set of options. If something random doesn't trigger, adjust the angle or wait out the window. If the chase feels impossible, stop driving fast and start drawing angles the AI can't see. If a shot looks flat, move to golden hour or rain and let reflections carry the frame. This is the spine of GTA's magic. Ambient systems beat scripted beats. Time, weather, and geometry are your verbs. Satire, physics, and crowd behavior supply consequences that make sense. Learn those levers, and the city stops being a level you complete. It becomes a place you direct.